Hey y'all, it's Lindsay. It's time for me to weigh in on the Keto Chow recipe, the pumpkin sausage soup. For a little bit of context, I follow a keto lifestyle. I share that here on my channel in the form of what I eat in a day videos, recipes, and other just sit down chatty videos where I just tell you how my experience has been following a keto way of life. The pumpkin sausage soup recipe is on the Keto Chow website. I will have that linked down in my description box below for you to go check it out for yourself directly. If you are fresh to the Keto Chow is a nutritionally complete meal replacement shake. It is loaded with 1/3 of your daily vitamins and minerals. It has about 26 grams of protein before you add anything to it. And the best part is that you can add your own fat source. You get to choose how much and what kind. Also, it's an extremely versatile product. You can make it as a meal replacement shake, but you can also do cool things like make soups with it, like what we're gonna do today. You can bake with it, all kinds of things. If you're interested in getting some Keto Chow for yourself and want a little bit of savings or a little discount, I will leave my affiliate link down in the description box below, along with my coupon code to save you 10%. For the longest time, I decided to not try the pumpkin sausage soup, largely because I was being told from everybody that you have to try the soup. And I thought to myself, if everybody loves it that much, that's so great for everybody, but also, like, I'm good. At Keto-Palooza, I was standing in the middle of a conversation with Chris from Keto Chow on one side, along with Lynette, also from Keto Chow, telling me, you have to try this soup. It's amazing. It is so incredible. You must try it. But then I have Joe from Too Crazy Keto standing right here telling me, do yourself a favor, don't even try it. Do not try it. It's not going to be a good thing for you. And I'm like, and Joe's stance is that it's so incredible that if you start it, you're never gonna quit. So I've got these two sides of the conversation, two sides of the argument, if you will, but both of them are saying the same thing. Like, the soup is incredible, you have to try it, but don't try it because it is so incredible. So I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because my rebellious heart wants to rebel against both of them. I can't do that. This is a yes-no situation. Like, there's no or in the middle. I went ahead and I did try the soup. Gosh, this is taking me ages to get through. I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna go for it. We're just doing it. We're just doing it. Joe told me not to, and we had just had a conversation before that about how adult children always seem to do the opposite of whatever he suggests they do, and it just felt right, you know? What can I say? I'm a big old rebellious child at heart. So I made the soup, and we thought it was fine. There was nothing like mind-bogglingly amazing about it. It was fine and dandy. The next day, it was much better. It had a lot more time to just sort of like hang out and develop all of those flavors in a much better way. And I feel like that's true for most Keto Chow. It tends to have decent flavor on the first, like when you first make it, but the magic really happens whenever you let it just kind of sit and develop overnight in the fridge, or you know, however you prepare it. If you prepare it and give it some time, the full flavor profile can just be so much more impactful when you taste it. So I've only made it once, and it was nothing amazing, and then it was good, repeatable, good repeatable soup. When I did make it the first go around, I made it following the recipe, and that is something that is very difficult for me to do. This time, I'm gonna try something a little bit different and sort of make it my own. And that's the beauty of recipes. You can try them and then you can make them your own. Also, I recognize that there are tons of people putting this recipe out right now. So maybe this will be one way that people have not yet tried. Here are my soup ingredients, and we'll start over here with the pork. I have fresh ground pork. The recipe calls for sausage, which has seasoning. This does not have seasonings to it, so I will compensate with using extra seasonings so that we get the right kind of flavor out of this that we need. And one of those things is going to be rubbed sage. This is something that makes pork taste amazing, but is not called for in the recipe. So I will be adding this, and it will do wonders for the flavor. I also have some paprika, some black pepper, and ground cumin. Also real salt. Got to always have some salt. Here I have minced garlic. I don't know why I'm struggling with my focus here. I've got some white onion and poblano peppers. The original recipe calls for jalapenos. I will not be putting that into my soup, but I will be using sliced jalapenos as garnish for those who want it. In the pantry department, I have some green chilies, a can of petite diced tomatoes, and pure pumpkin. This has no sweetener, no seasonings, no nothing added. I also have a quart of my homemade bone broth that I'll be using. I have 1 8-ounce brick of some cream cheese. And the reason this recipe even exists in the first place, the pumpkin spiced caramel keto chow. This is a single serving. That's all you need for this soup. Now, if you do not have this or would rather just go for a grocery store option, you can get a similar, not identical, but similar profile in the flavoring if you use your own sweetener and some pumpkin spice to sort of help round out some of that flavor. The nice thing about the keto chow is it already has some sweetener in it, which sounds weird, but it does help with the balance of flavors between some of the savory flavor, and sausage plus sweet flavors always taste really good. So if you do not have this, monk fruit, stevia, whatever you can find locally or inexpensively, that just a few drops will sort of bring out some of those flavors. I will be browning my sausage up on the stove back here as per the recipe instructions, but from that point on, I'm gonna go rogue. I have a Vitamix that will heat things from cold or room temperature into piping hot soup. It has the fancy little soup button on it, and I wanna know what's gonna happen if I use that soup button for everything else besides the sausage. Now, the act of sauteing and softening the onions and the peppers is great, but my kids, they tend to prefer soups that don't have chunks of vegetables in it. So we're just gonna go rogue and see what happens with the Vitamix instead. It may be worse. I'm willing to go this direction, even if it could be worse. So we're just experimenting here.
First up, let's get the ground sausage moving along. In a skillet, heat some avocado oil to prevent sticking. Get your ground sausage into the skillet and start breaking it up. To the pork, add 1 tablespoon salt, 2 teaspoons of sage, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons of cumin, and 2 teaspoons of black pepper. Incorporate the seasonings into the pork and allow it to brown. While the sausage is browning, let's work on the rest of the soup. Rough chop some white onion, about half of 1 medium-sized onion. Seed and rough chop 4 poblano peppers. Even though you are working on the soup, make sure that you come back to your ground sausage, stir it up a little to ensure even cooking. To the Vitamix, add 1 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes, 1 4-ounce can of diced green chilies, your peppers and onions, a 15-ounce can of 100% pure pumpkin, and 1 quart of stock, whether it's bone broth or just stock or a bouillon cube that you have reconstituted, add that to the top, and 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Pop on the lid and start blending for just a few moments on a really low speed to ensure that those ingredients start to incorporate. Add 1 serving of the Keto Chow pumpkin spiced caramel, or 1 tablespoon of pumpkin spice and a few drops of your sweetener if you are doing the alternative method. Blend on low for a few seconds to get the Keto Chow moving, and then select your soup function on the Vitamix and let it go. While the Vitamix is working on heating up the rest of the soup ingredients, let's double check our sausage. Once it's sufficiently brown, turn off your heat so you don't overcook your sausage. Once the soup cycle is complete, you can add your cream cheese and blend for about 30 to 45 seconds to incorporate it.
All right, my soup cycle has completed here on the Vitamix, and it looks extremely creamy. It is not the proper color for a pumpkin soup, but the flavor profile is still all there. If you wanted to make this entirely dairy-free, leave out the cream in the original recipe, leave out the cream cheese in the original recipe, and instead of using the Keto Chow flavor, use the monk fruit or your own personal sweetener plus the pumpkin pie spice or pumpkin spice. And that keeps it totally dairy-free. As it stands right now, I am not going to add my cream cheese because of how thick and creamy this already looks. So I'm satisfied with that. I think I will top this with a little bit of sour cream whenever I bowl or plate. I mean, you're putting it in a bowl. When I dip this out. And here's my sausage over here. I'm kind of regretting my choice of skillet for this. I wish I would have stuck with a larger soup pot so that I could just sort of pour the blended mixture into the sausage. But here we are. Okay, we're gonna be fine. We're just gonna dirty another pot and it'll be a-okay, which means using the Vitamix could have been fruitless, and I'm willing to accept that as reality.
The last step is to put all of the pieces together to complete the soup. I'm going to mix the liquid from my blender into the sausage that I have cooked and incorporate those well. For exact measurements and a printable recipe, check out the link in my description box below to my website where you will find that.
I have a little serving of the pumpkin sausage soup here. I did a little bit of sour cream and some fresh cilantro on top because I like freshness sometimes. So let's give her a little taste. Also, I definitely did not seed the peppers perfectly, so I'm sure there are a little bit of seeds from the poblano in here. Good. I really like it. I think I do need to add a little bit of jalapeno, a little bit of heat to it. I did increase all of the ingredients except the Keto Chow, so the sweetness is much more subtle, and so I really like it a lot more now that I've like almost doubled the majority of these ingredients, except for that one. It's like a hint of sweetness to sort of just amplify that pumpkin-y flavor, as well as just sort of like complement the sausage. That, you know, pork and sweetness tend to go together. I definitely want a little bit of sliced jalapeno on here, but the cilantro does add some nice freshness. Second time that I've made this soup, I like it so much more right now than I did the first go around whenever it's initially dipped out of the pot. I know the flavors are gonna develop once this sits overnight, and the leftovers are gonna be even better. I also think that adding like a keto-friendly biscuit to this would be divine. So I might go make myself some of those and use them as, you know, little dippers in my soup. That's my take on the pumpkin sausage soup. If you are interested in seeing other recipe videos that I have done, I would love to join you over in this video right here.